Renardo? Will he play nickel? I mean, how do you want to sort of bring him along initially?
We'll bring him along, starting him out inside and see what he can do in there. I think that's something that if you can retain it, you want to learn it earlier than try and, we know what Demo can do. We've also, Sammy Womack's done a really good job here these last couple of weeks, and so has Keemon Hall. So I feel like there's a lot of good competition everywhere at every position, and then he'll get some work outside too, but we want to also train him up because, like I said, versatility, you only have certain amount of guys that dress on game day, and you just always have to have enough guys that can fill in if you have injuries or something like that.
What's the challenge with, I mean, only 3 of your starting front 7 guys return, at least to start the season, when you have so many moving pieces, so many new faces coming in? What's the big challenge with that?
The challenge usually is to learn how to play our defense and learn how you're talking about the D-line in particular, right? And then
and
learning
linebackers. Only Fred will be there when the season starts.
Right, and learning how that works, like our targets, our get off and all that. It usually takes a little while, but so far from what I've seen, the D-line is, with the individual work, it's looked really cool. It's looked really good, and like I said, the mixture of young guys with, or guys in the middle of their careers, and then, a guy like Leonard and Malik added to that have done it and have proven it, and we know that they can. Malik has played in this system. He was in Houston, and so is Devondre. Devondre's played in this system years ago in Atlanta. So for him, it was like, oh, cool, this is great. I remember this. So it's not so new for some of these guys.
Nick, why did the run D kind of take a step back last year? It seemed like in the Detroit game, you guys got pushed around a lot up front, and they climbed to the second level and were picking off your linebackers. What happened to the run D from 2 years ago to last year? And what's your thoughts on it going into this year?
In that game, they got us a couple times. We've evaluated that, and we're going to fix that part of the game and those type of runs. That's what we've kind of focused on.
Did Kyle ask you if you'd be okay with Staley coming on? Obviously, he's a big name. He's known. He's been a head coach. You're a first-time coordinator. Did he ask you, like, would this be something that can work, or did you know right away it could work with somebody with that high a profile?
I know when we interviewed, he had talked about, I think I was first because it was like we were here, everything just happened. We had just finished the Super Bowl, and there were a lot of names out there, and he was like, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna interview a lot of people, and here, and here. So, I always knew there was always a chance, and I'd always heard good things about Staley, and really bright, knows his stuff. Obviously he is, because he ascended so quickly. And like I said, it's been really good. I mean, he's a worker, he's smart. He's been really great through this whole process, this offseason. I've learned a lot in a short amount of time, and he's really meshed with our guys, with our players and the coaches.
He'd be up in the booth, you think? Pretty sure.
We're still working all that out.
Nick, you played.
Last one, guys. We gotta go.
You played 10 years in the NFL. How would you describe your style, and maybe what are some of the traits you want to see carry over to the guys that you're coaching?
Speed, violence, and finish. That's what I talked to him about. Playing with that speed, and then the violence that the game does change as far as rules, but it's still football, and we want to arrive that way with violence, and then finishes. Being a ball player, making plays, whether it's sacks, picks, forcing fumbles, takeaways, and it's also how we run, our effort, our swarm, how we finish. I would love to catch up with him. It's been a while though.
You guys are good with them too.
Just a follow-up on Mustafa. Talked about like John and Alex has been like a conviction guy. Like I assume most of his draft picks most people like, but that was like so particularly excited about him. Where did I guess his passion and his spirit? What are I guess those characteristics that kind of shine through seemingly to everyone?
Yeah, when you see it on tape, then it's real, and that's our type of guy. And just the way he plays, it jumped out at us. He was able to do a lot of things. He had a good interview with us at the combine, so you could tell he was a bright kid. He has his stuff together, but he plays hard, he plays physical, and he's got versatility.
You mentioned to John Lynch that they have a little film talk or a little talk about understanding and breaking down plays. together, and that was kind of a bonding moment for them. Was his mental approach to the game, understanding like all the intricacies of the defensive scheme, was that impressive to you?
It was. Like I said, the interview was really good.
Mm-hmm.
You can sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's a short amount of time. Sometimes you can feel like, is this rehearsed, and you kind of have to figure people out. But it seemed like he really knew what he was talking about and could explain certain things. And it wasn't just about, you know, memorizing this or that. He kind of could bounce back and forth, and the conversation seemed like real football talk.
Is there an emphasis this year on, you know, looking back at last year, you can get better potentially a lot better in one particular area that you kind of have honed in on or want to hone in on this offseason?
We feel like there's a few we can, you know, and we do that with our players every year too. It's like the first thing we do when they come back. We call them, they're like pro grow, get better tapes, and the coaches will meet with them individually, and they'll have a tape of like some of the good plays, but then also focus on what can you improve, you know. And I feel like we do that with every aspect of our defense too.
Renardo Green seems like a fiery character. We've heard some of his phone call with John and Kyle. I think also Daniel Bullock's. Did you talk to him much in the pre-draft process, and what has he been like coming off of being drafted?
No, our coaches were doing a lot of those Zoom interviews, like a lot of teams do. You try and talk to as many guys as you can, and you know, spend time with them, and as many as you can. They have certain limitations for that, but I'm just excited to see him here these next, you know, today at practice, and then we get into next week and see what he can retain, and then see how he moves. And we're just excited, you know, as much as you can learn right now, because you don't ever put pads on and stuff like that.